Hello and welcome to Inside Sports. I'm your host, Todd Blackstock. Today, we're at Lindenwood University where the RedHawks from Southeast Missouri State have stormed the campus. It's Game Ball Brawl Day out here, and we're going to talk to distinguished alumni and interview the athletic director from SEMO, Brady Barke. So stay with us. It's a SEMO Day on Inside Sports. Welcome to the show. Joining us now at Inside Sports is the outstanding athletic director at Southeast Missouri State University, Brady Barke. And Brady, thanks a lot for joining us here today. And it's a wonderful day out here. It's like the game day brawl against Lindenwood, and Southeast coming in here with a pretty good record this year, and it's got to be fun to have an in-state rivalry like this.
Yeah, it really is. Especially it's one thing to have a rivalry. It's another one to have one in St. Louis where we've got so many alums already. And so, this is a convenient way for them to be able to get out and be able to watch and support us. You can see the tailgate. We've got tons of people that have shown out already. And so it's a cool thing, and we're glad to be able to have something like this in the Ohio Valley Conference, because for a long time we've struggled to try to find that true rivalry, and I think this could develop into that.
The SEMO athletics right now is probably at the highest peak it's ever been from what I can remember as an alumni of 1989. And over the last, 15, 20 years, you've really risen up the ranks. You started out in the lower levels of the athletic department, and if you've made your way all the way up to the athletic director, can you talk a little bit about your aspiration through the program?
Yeah, it's funny. It's opportunities that present themselves when you're not really expecting them. I remember I told my wife when I first took the job, 16 years ago, as one of those kind of entry-level lower jobs, I said, we'll be here 3 to 5 years, find somewhere else to move on to, and just kind of a byproduct of being in the right place at the right time and kind of keeping your head down and doing the work. I've been fortunate to have the opportunities I've had, and this is, I think, year 10 now of being, the athletic director, and we've been able to accomplish a lot. It's I'm proud of it being an athletic department that looks a lot different than it did when I first got there. I think we've got great coaches and staff that have given us an opportunity to have the success that we've had, and so future's certainly bright for us in a difficult landscape for college athletics right now. Division I landscape's hard, but I think if we stay true to who we are, we'll continue to find a way to have the success we're having, and I'm excited to see where it can go.
Does the transfer portal affect the 1AA teams as much as, like the Mizzous and the Alabamas?
Oh, for sure. I think you get it a couple of ways. You get students that aren't happy that they're not getting enough playing time, and so they want to go somewhere where they maybe can have more opportunity, and they can do that more freely than they've ever been able to. But then you also have those that do really well, and every year you have to assume that every one of your players is going to go in the portal and have another opportunity. And so you're re-recruiting your team every year, and and then you're also trying to make sure that you can stay veteran enough. And so that means that you may have to get in the portal, and you may have to be the beneficiary of people leaving other institutions too. And so the recruiting models have changed for our coaches, I think, in a lot of our sports. Unfortunately, fewer high school students being recruited because of that, all of that turnover. You have to make sure you have experienced student athletes, and when you lose those stars, you've got to fill them with people who have some experience. And so it's changed our roster. It's also changed the way we recruit.
So what are your thoughts on Southeast run in 2024? You've gotten national exposure with ESPN and some other outlets covering the RedHawks now, and what do you think the key to getting the media exposure and having such a great season?
Yeah, I think the culture, I think what Coach Tukes, developed has been a huge part of that. He's process driven, and the team has bought into that, and they understand kind of the approach. It helps. We've got some pretty good players too. Paxton DeLawrence, a really good quarterback. He's a top 25 quarterback for sure. And you've got some really good, support pieces around him. But, you know, if we can continue to keep, you know, as healthy as at least we are, right? We've had a ton of injuries. If we can get some of those people back, you know, I mean, I think we do have an opportunity to do something special we haven't done before. And you know, I mean, we're talking about opportunities for first-round buys in playoffs, national seeding. I mean, those are all conversations that, you know, we've hoped that we could have someday, but never really been in a position. And so it's exciting. You know, I think we take a lot of pride in knowing that, you know, we can be the flag bearer for the institution. And you know, a lot of the recognition for the university comes through the athletic success. And so, you know, we take that role really seriously, and we're excited that, you know, we're having an opportunity to be able to impact that a little bit.
The Southeast Missouri alums that you can think of that have gone on to the next level, played a little professional sports, either Europe or the NFL, made some rosters.
Yeah.
Anybody come to mind recently?
Yeah, I mean, of course, you know, we've got Dan Connolly. You know, Dan lives here in St. Louis now that he's retired. He played a long time for the Patriots. Eugene Amano for the Tennessee Titans for a long time. You know, you've got Edgar Jones, you've got Angel Rubio. You know, I mean, there are a lot of those. And then we've got people now, right? Christian Wilkerson with the Raiders. You've got, you know, Paul McRoberts had some time, you know, in the NFL. He was a St. Louis product. You've got Ryan Flournoy. You know, Ryan Flournoy is currently with the Cowboys. Mike Ford, who was just across the river, he was in Alton, Godfrey area. You know, he's still playing in the NFL. And so, yeah, I mean, you know, they can find talent. If you can play, they'll find you. And so you get an opportunity to be able to hone your craft, be able to get, you know, an opportunity to see the field right away for a lot of these people, and be able to still have an opportunity to prove yourself at the next level.
Let's talk about the field right now in Hawks Stadium and all the outstanding renovations that have gone there. When I was down at SEMO, there are houses that line Broadway.
Yeah.
Those are all gone. The stadium is now a featured place on the campus and in the surrounding area. And the tailgating now is outstanding. We didn't have tailgating when I was down there. I think it was a crazier era, but we didn't have that. Yeah. And now you do. And how has that helped the program and the students and the student athletes respond to the camaraderie?
Yeah, you know, that's part of the college experience. For students to be able to come out, enjoy tailgating on Saturdays, you want the community to do it. You want it to be, at the end of the day, you want college game days to be an event, right? You want it to be a day-long event that you know that you're going to come and you're going to set up and you're going to tailgate, you're going to have fun, you know, with family and friends and you know, former classmates that come back. And then you get to go in and watch the game after that, right? And for a long time, it was just you show up at game time and you go watch the game and go home.
Right.
And so it's evolved into that. And, you know, the improvements we've made, where the stadium's located is really the front door to the university, but it's also the front door to downtown Cape Girardeau. And so, you know, for us to be able to develop that, you know, we've had support from the city towards our next phase of the project. You know, we did our first phase of the renovation and redoing the south grandstand and the entryway. But, you know, hopefully within the next probably 6 to 9 months, we're going to be talking about breaking ground on the next phase, which is a 40,000 square foot, 6-level building that would incorporate the press box, but also all of your locker room and office spaces and everything. All of football operations goes into that, a new sports medicine facility. And so, you know, it's a really exciting time. We've been able to capitalize on all of this momentum, right? We've won 30 championships across all of our sports since 2019. And I was at the university for 2 years before I ever saw one championship in any sport. And so to think we've had that much success in the last few years, it just speaks to kind of the momentum that's being, you know, built and created. And so I think we'll look at ourselves 5 years from now and see, like, this is that moment in time that changed kind of the trajectory of athletics for SEMO. And that's a cool thing.
We've got about a minute or so left. Can you maybe offer some insight into some of the other programs? You got the fall and winter programs coming up and the spring, and they've all done so well.
Yeah, you know, our volleyball program is leading the conference right now. We're expecting they, you know, are the favorite right now to be able to win the conference championship and go to another NCAA tournament. Our basketball program, you know, we're a little over a year removed from going into an NCAA tournament for the first time in 23 years in our men's basketball program, and so they're going to look to rebound and get back into that. We hired a new women's basketball coach, Briley Palmer, who's from Farmington. She is Southeast Missouri through and through, and they went on the road and almost upset Dayton, their home opener, and so we're excited to see what that roster is going to look like. They've got some really good local St. Louis talent on that roster. And then our spring sports have been our most dominating sports already. They've won championships year over year, and so we know our track and our baseball and softball programs are all going to be really strong. So, yeah, as much fun as this fall has been, I think there's some really exciting things to look forward to for the rest of the academic year, too.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here. And, what are your thoughts? You got a little rain out here today, but you got a huge tailgate party, a lot of alumni.
Yeah.
What are your final thoughts out here today in this game day brawl, or what is it called?
Yeah, the game ball brawl. And, this is what's awesome is, I worried a little bit about the weather. Would people, kind of be scared off of it and choose to just stay in and watch it on TV? But people have shown up early. They've been out here. Looks like they're having a lot of fun. It's great to see the energy. We'll get them inside. Obviously, our team will feed off of that, and I expect this will be the greatest visiting crowd that Lindenwood's seen by far, and so we'll make sure our presence is felt.
Thank you very much for joining us with Inside
Absolutely.
Sports.
Thank you.
Brady Barke, the outstanding athletic director, once again from Southeast Missouri State University. We're going to take a quick break and come back and get more action out here at Lindenwood College, Lindenwood University, right here on Inside Sports.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right.
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
Hi, welcome back to Inside Sports. I'm Todd Blackstock, and we're here with longtime alumni director from Southeast Missouri State University, Jay Walls. And who do we got here?
Rowdy's here.
Rowdy's here on a big day at Lindenwood University at the tailgate party. As alumni director, you've got to love this. Tell us a little bit about Rowdy first before he gets on his way and excites people.
Well, Rowdy's been around now for what, 20 plus years, I believe. Since we evolved from the Indians to Rowdy. This is actually Rowdy version 2. We had sort of the earlier version of Rowdy wasn't as fit as this one. This one is a little more muscular.
So the first one bit the dust, and now we're in the Rowdy number 2 here.
Yeah, but Rowdy's very, very popular with the kids, and we're glad to have him around.
All right, so how's SEMO going to finish this year out?
Number 1. All right. Of course, number 6 in the nation right now.
How about that?
So that's great.
Well, thanks a lot, Rowdy, for stopping by here at Inside Sports. And, Jay, the one thing you mentioned, I think I met you at Busch Stadium at SEMO Day. Outside by the Stan Musial statue.
Probably,
There was an alumni event, and the alumni director at that time was a guy that looked just like you. And I had walked up and said, why did Southeast Missouri change from the Indians to the RedHawks? And at first I was like, I hadn't embraced it quite yet because of the rich heritage of the Otakians.
Well, sure.
And the Trail of Tears that goes right through there. It seems like a no-brainer. I mean, the Indians want the Washington Redskins back. But there are political things.
It's right. It was one of those politically correct things.
But what are your thoughts on that, and how has it been embraced over the years?
Well, at first, and going back to when the change happened, like 25 years ago, something like that, there were pockets of alumni that didn't care for the idea a whole lot. And they said, I was an Indian. In fact, I was an Indian when you and I were on that campus. And my mother was an Indian. My grandparents were Indians, so it's generational. And there were, for a while, alums that said, I will always be an Indian. I will never be a RedHawk, but I think it's really come along.
And we wouldn't have him
over the
here
years.
then, would we?
No, we wouldn't. He would never have been hatched. Not at all. And we've never had maybe tailgates like this, like what we're having now. These are amazing. We didn't used to have tailgates.
We weren't even allowed to have tailgates
No.
when I was down at SEMO.
My gosh, and this is great now. And the fan support for SEMO Athletics has been just outstanding.
Yeah, so we'll talk a little bit more about that, but it's starting to rain a little bit, so let's right now go underneath the tent right here and
Good idea.
pick up the conversation with Jay Walls on Inside Sports. And now we're underneath. TV works in funny ways. As soon as we come under a tent, the sun comes out and stops raining. But anyway, we're going to stay right here for now. We're coming out of the Indians, turning into the RedHawks, and we wouldn't have had our fun little mascot there. But I did want to transition back into Dr. Carlos Vargas.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's really brought the university into a new direction. I thought it was always a great university, but when you bring in someone, I guess I would say an outsider, and it brought his worldly views to the university,
Definitely.
it really put it in a new direction, and I think it's going quite well.
He brought a lot of excitement to campus as well, and he's really engaged the students. And he's been very, very personable. Quick little story about when Dr. Vargas came to campus, and this was back in 2014, 2015, and I was in the alumni department at the time, and we had some conversations with him before he really formally came to campus. And we said, Dr. Vargas, when you become president, when you're actually here, do you want to be known as President Vargas, Dr. Vargas Arbudo? And he stroked his beard, he looked at us, and he said, how about Carlos? Call me Carlos. So, and every student on campus feels that they can go up to him at any time, and he'll engage them. We've got many foreign students, and so they'll start speaking to him in Spanish, and so he's talking in Espanol to them, and it's wonderful, and they're fully engaged with him. So it's been he's been wonderful for the town, for the university, for our student body, and be a little sad to see him go because he will be leaving campus at the end of the current academic year. But I'm sure he will be.
Is he
staying in
moving
touch.
on to, where's he going?
We don't know yet.
Is he going to retire or just his?
That's a good question. He hasn't said. Perhaps you can catch up with him
Maybe
later.
we'll catch up with Dr. Vargas there a little bit.
Ask him that.
So we're sitting here now. This is funny. Jay and I were in the same fraternity at different eras down in Southeast Missouri. When I was like a pledge in my first couple of years, I would look at the composites from like the 70s, and Jay was on there, had these big glasses. And
I probably had long hair too.
you had long hair, and you went on and worked at KFES Television
I did.
in Cape Girardeau and in that region of the heartland. And Southeast Missouri has a really good media department. They've got a really good mass communications department in the Grau Language Arts building. I spent a whole lot of time there, but could you talk a little bit about, the KRCU radio and
Oh my
the
gosh.
TV station there and how it's evolved and television from the time you were there until 2024?
Well, I can speak a little bit about KRCU, the campus radio station. I was one of the first voices on KRCU back in March of 1976. We were a whopping 10 watts of power. So we could be heard on a clear night from the Language Arts building to maybe the Towers dorms. And for your viewers that might know what campus is like, that's about maybe 3 blocks away.
Yeah.
I was the first news director at KRCU, and so we're coming up on our 50-year anniversary pretty soon. And the station now has transmitters in the Poplar Bluff area and up around Fredericktown, Farmington area. So all of Southeast Missouri is now covered. And it's a national public radio station as well.
Okay.
So it is really the NPR voice of Southeast Missouri.
How's SEMO traveling these days?
SEMO is traveling great. As a matter of fact, considering the weather today, we just might have as many fans here as Lindenwood does. We'll see. I don't know. But should be a good game. Looking forward to it.
Thanks a lot, Jay.
Sure thing, Todd.
Jay Walls, longtime alumni director, Southeast Missouri State University. So right now, videographer Joe Brown and I are going to go out into the crowd here a little bit and check out some of the tailgating going on here at Lindenwood University as the RedHawks have ramped it up on campus.
SEMO.
And joining me now is the distinguished alumni from Southeast Missouri State University, Jim Delaney. Jim and I were in the media department, the mass communication, radio, TV together, and Jim went on and was the audiovisual director at America Center and the Dome for the Rams all those years. How long?
Only 23 years and 15 days I was there.
So Jim, what was your main function there? I always saw you there yelling at everybody.
I dealt with the video production room. I also dealt with all the networks when they came in, ESPN, Fox, CBS. When we were really good, it was fantastic. It was, well, you were there. It was lots of fun times. You can't ever take that away. Even though the Rams did leave, it's kind of like a divorce, you know. You still look back on the good times. And no matter, you know, the end of it, it was still a fantastic time, you know.
It must have been pretty rewarding, though, working with all the networks and all the local crew. And one thing you were great about, you always invited the crew out to a local watering hole after the production, and you made sure that you knew all your crew personally.
I've always done that. I always thought it was really good actually to meet people and be part of who they are, so you understand if something happens. You're more apt to actually listen to them rather than talk at them. You talk to them and listen to them, and that's a good part of life. You got to be like that, you know.
So right now with Jim Delaney, and right now you've moved on from America Center, and we've got this big screen up here. That's your new endeavor right now. You're working with this company with more SEMO implications. And we got some pretty darn good music going on in the background too.
Absolutely. Yeah, a little spinning wheel. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, actually I work for a company called Clancy Unlimited right now, and it's run by actually a Pike alumni from SEMO. I was a teak, so that's all right, but we still talk. But oh yeah, him and his brother actually were both Pikes down at SEMO, and they're running Clancy at this point, and great place. We do production and just basically do what I always used to do.
So what do you think? When we were down at SEMO, we didn't have tailgate parties right then. The team wasn't quite as good as they are now. They're on a roll, but what are your thoughts many years later, seeing all the alumni out here at Lindenwood University?
Back in the day, even if you were alumni, it was a dry campus, so you couldn't have any beer on there, which was problematic, even though we did students. But, you know, so that's part of it here. I mean, getting the alumni part of it. I mean, my alumni association, I was a teak, Top Cap Epsilon down at Cape, and we get together every year. I'm the chairman of the golf tournaments, and we get out there and just talk to each other and talk about the times we had. We get some of the newer guys in there, we get them involved with it, and that's a good way to be part of something.
Any final thoughts, Jim? I know you want to get with your boys.
Let's go RedHawks.
All right, Jim Delaney on STL TV. And we're with more alumni out here at Lindenwood University. SEMO alumni. It's a Red Hawk day here. We're the Indians. We talked about that earlier with the alumni director, former Jay Wells, but we spoke with Jim Delaney earlier, works for Clancy. You own Clancy. Right. SEMO alumni, Kyle Vogt, and we got this nice screen up here you provided here today, and you know, it seems like a lot of the union people in St. Louis work for Clancy, and you guys do a lot of great work. Can you tell us about Clancy?
Clancy, well, we started in 1991. Started out at Riverport Amphitheater, which today is Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. Still there today, and we manage many theaters in town. That includes Hollywood Casino Amphitheater, St. Louis Music Park, the Pageant, and the Factory, to name a couple. We also do a bunch of conventions at American Center in St. Louis.
So how'd you get involved with the alumni here today, with the RedHawks coming and storming Lindenwood University here? It's a Red Hawk day. You've got your beautiful screen here. What made you want to do it?
So we, Robbie Gard, who's well-known in Cape Girardeau, works for MDR Banks. They're one of the sponsors. Helped coordinate this whole tailgate with him and brought in the entertainment.
All right, so what do you think? We didn't really have tailgating much when we were down in SEMO. How do you like the way it's expanded and the?
It's amazing, isn't it? Look at the crowd. This is an away game. Can you believe it?
Yeah, this is awesome. And joining us now, another distinguished alumni from Southeast Missouri State University, Brian Roth. Brian's with the Kansas City Comets. He cut his teeth at SEMO, works hard around the St. Louis area, and you know things are going good for you with your SEMO education, Brian.
Yeah, thanks. It was a good time. Really enjoying life in Kansas City. Working for the Kansas City Comets, professional indoor soccer. So it's something I've always wanted to do. I was with the Ambush for a number of years, and then COVID hit. So things kind of shut down, and now I'm back in Kansas City, working for the Comets. You know, we're starting our 15th season here just in a few weeks.
Well, that's amazing. You're one of the reasons why we're here. You're an alumni that's really excited about how things are going with Southeast Missouri, and you always send out blasts. You send out maps to where this tailgate was going to be, and always blast. So it's in your blood, and you seem to try to rally the troops and get everybody together.
Yeah, it's really a proud alum of Southeast Missouri State, so happy to promote our teams, the university, and you know, really try to push the brand out to the public. You see a great crowd here today, even with the rain.
I mean, you ever think you'd see something like this on a rainy day in St. Louis with this many alumni?
This is amazing. There'll be 1,000 people here today, hopefully more. And like I said, despite the weather, this is a fantastic turnout.
Well, we know you got a lot of fun going on and places to go. Before we let you go, any final thoughts? Anything you want to say about today or SEMO in general?
Just really impressed with the turnout, and you know, keep it coming, and go RedHawks.
It's game, brawl, ball out here at Lindenwood University. And I'm with a couple members of the athletic department of Southeast Missouri State University. We've got Brady.
Hi.
How are you today?
Great.
We're doing a little improvising with the rain right now. And Bree, what do you do with SEMO athletics? And you know, tell us about your thoughts of today.
Yeah, I work in marketing, so I help with in-game promotions and sponsorships, and our kids club, so I help to get people at the games.
And you're dressed up here quite nicely?
Yes, me and my coworker decided we wanted to match today as we take on Lindenwood.
All right, any final thoughts?
SE.
How about that? And we're with London now. And London, you're a SEMO alumni. You've gone on to join the athletic department. And can you imagine how great the SEMO athletic department has come over these last few years?
Yeah, man, I think a lot of it just comes down to leadership. Leadership from the coaches, leadership from their captains, their players that's been there for a little while, and just playing their brand of football like we have always done. And I think that's what's kept us successful throughout the years.
And talk about your school spirit here.
Yeah, man, kind of on the other side, used to doing being in uniform, helmet and shoulder pads, but want to come out and support these guys in a way they've never had before, and just show them, like, man, it starts with us and finishes with us. And so used to be a player, but now I want to be a fan for them, and I'm just here to support the RedHawks.
Any final thoughts on maybe a student athlete that might want to come down to Southeast Missouri State University?
It's a great place to be, man. I came from Memphis, Tennessee originally before coming to SEMO. Spent 5 years there, got my degree there, and just fell in love with the town, the community, and the people that's there. Really close-knit community, and it's a great college to come and blossom into whoever you want to be.
All right, well, thank you very much, Bree in London. I'm Todd Blackstock for Inside Sports, down here at the campus of Lindenwood University, where Southeast Missouri alumni took it over today. Thanks for watching STL TV, everyone. Experience St. Louis.